What's up, wrestling fans, and welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. It's time for us to talk about WWE Tables, Ladders, and Chairs 2017. This is a post-show where we're going to be recapping everything that happened throughout the night, giving our review and our thoughts on everything that not just happened there, but everything going forward and how they're going to bounce back from this very strange pay-per-view. Lots of ups, lots of downs, a lot of weird changes along the way. And the two people that are going to be talking about this tonight are, of course, myself, as always, Tony Mango, and Mike Payton.
You suck.
You suck.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like this should be lyrics to a theme, a certain theme.
It really is a great compliment these days. You know, and this pay-per-view sucked.
Well, there are parts of this pay-per-view that sucked. But you know what?
His name is Enzo.
I have to give credit where credit's due. And I also have to kind of take away some credit. It's a weird combination for this pay-per-view because there's elements that I go, yeah, you know, that wasn't really as great as it could have been, but hey, you know what? They had a weird situation going on. And then there's other parts that I go, yeah, see, they planned that out though, and that one wasn't that good. So I'm kind of like in flux when it comes to this because it sort of depends on each individual segment, and you kind of have to give a little bit of leeway here and there, but let's start off with the pre-show. One of the negatives that I have here, and this is something that, again, a little bit of leeway, cut from time constraints, Drew Gulak didn't get to do his PowerPoint presentation.
I mean, I don't know if what the deal with this was even going to be, if this was the plan all along. I mean, time constraints, like, I really know if that's a possible thing. Something had to have gone wrong. You know what I bet it was, dude? Have you ever had to actually, like, go to an event where they're setting up a PowerPoint presentation?
Not an event with several thousand people like this.
Okay, well, I actually used to do that for a living. I used to rent out like projectors and speakers and stuff like that and go and set it up for people. And I tell you, almost inevitably, every single time something like this goes on, something goes wrong where you can't get the damn projector to work correctly. Somebody loses a cable, or they can't get the laptop to work with the right cable, or whatever the hell it is. So I think something like that happened.
I think it's kind of one of those things where they just kind of figured they wanted to do that Elias stuff, and that sort of killed a little bit of the time.
Wasn't that all on the main show?
Mostly, yeah.
Except for like that one short backstage segment.
Yeah. And I mean, they could have been something where they were just sort of like, hey, let's do this instead. And he had a good little comeback of it where he's like, I am sick and tired of the man keeping me down. And I was like, okay, it got people kind of interested in the basement that hadn't known what's going on with Gulak. So it still did some positive.
That's what makes me almost think that maybe this was the plan all along. It's a possibility because I don't know, the whole idea of him just being out there and doing a PowerPoint presentation just sounds like it would go over like a wet fart. Like,
have you been actually watching 205 Live?
No.
I've been loving this because he comes out there and he's got the first week that he did it, it seemed like it was just like one random off thing, but he had joked that he had 277 slides. And that was like, oh, it's kind of funny. And then it became like, all right, slide number 2 in like the next week, and slide number 3, and he's at slide number 10 now. And it's like, it's just been this regular thing. And I love that he's been trying to build this up recently as something that the fans could get behind, where he's like, he'll be like, okay, and I'm going to present to you another slide of my, and like, he's trying to like, get the crowd and it's PowerPoint presentation, and you get like Nigel McGuinness, and he's like, yes, like, and I sit there cracking up. I fucking love it. So I like the idea of the Gulak doing this kind of a thing. I wish it would have been like the actual segment, but at least they still kind of turned it around into something that was kind of fun. But the rest of the pre-show, pretty much blah. Mickie James on the social media lounge, doesn't matter what she said. I did like Elias doing the little snide comment where Jason Jordan's all like, thanks for saving the card, and he's like, at least I'm on the card.
That was kind of funny. And I will say one thing that was actually pretty significant of that social media lounge thing is that she dedicated the match between her and Alexa to her newborn child.
Oh, she did. I missed that part.
Yeah. Donovan, I think I shouldn't say newborn, but he's still pretty pretty young. Yeah, she dedicated the match to him during that segment. They mentioned it a few times during that match, so it added a little bit more complexity to that match that they had later.
Is he one of those newborns that a lot of people do where they go by the months and it's like the kid's like 5 years old and it's like, he's X many months old and you're just sort of like, I think you could say a couple of years at this point, that kind of a thing.
I think he's less than 2 years.
Okay. That's more excusable. The match that was on the pre-show was Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox, which, that's a pre-show match. If you skipped it, you didn't really miss anything. But it's kind of good that you got Alicia Fox on the card. She hasn't been on anything in God knows how long.
I think they had a fine match. I think
serviceable.
Sasha Banks, I think, was the more important one that they wanted to make sure that they had something to do on this night. They didn't want to let her be completely forgotten. I forget who had said it in the thread that we had in the Mega Maniacs, but they had said, well, this should have been Nia facing Sasha, and maybe that could be too. I can't say I know that their plans were exactly, but if that's the case, then like a lot of things this night, I think they made the best of the situation they had, and they had a good match between Sasha and Alicia.
And if the reports are true about Nia taking some time off and stuff, well, they can't really have her fight if she's taking time off. That kind of defeats the purpose, So if you're going to have Sasha Banks on the card, then really, what was your other choice? Like, you can't just have like her versus Bayley. You can't cut to that. But I think that this was one of those matches that really signified like how much they were stretching this card before even the sickness issues. Because there's a lot of stuff on this card that wouldn't normally get on there. There's that one. There's the Alexander and Swann match.
That's the one match that I say would stick out with that exactly. This match I think is a perfectly normal pre-show match to expect.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm honestly shocked that 205 match wasn't on the pre-show.
Yeah, that strikes me as like another pre-show match too, and we'll get to that when we get to that because that's another little downside kind of. But they kicked off the actual show itself with Asuka's main roster debut, and she, of course, beats Emma. No surprises there, but I mean, it would have been kind of crazy for her to lose to Emma. And I'm surprised that they got Emma to put on as much of a fight as she did. I'm really glad that they did, too. If this would have just been a really quick squash, I don't think people would have really given a shit. Not that they really are going to be like, oh my god, this is amazing, best match of the year or anything, but glad to see that it was actually a contest.
Well, it's all about how they want to portray Asuka. I don't think they want to just portray her as like a karma, someone who's just going to go out there as a monster and just wreck everybody.
Yeah.
They want to. I think of it a lot like when they had Nakamura debut in NXT and they had him face Sami Zayn, and then it's like, well, have them go out there and have this incredible competitive match and try to steal the show almost as much as you can in a first match in a night where you had what you had following. And I think they did a great job with that. I think this was a great way to kick off the night. The crowd was really into it. They dug Asuka there. This is a girl with a big future. I'm looking forward to Asuka being on the main roster now, and as long as she doesn't get hurt again, she's going to do awesome things.
Now, how would you spell awesome? AWSU? Some kind of weird version of that? Because we were talking about the whole thing tonight. Because not many people in the basement were really familiar with Asuka. And my buddy Eric was like, oh, her name pisses me off. It should be Asuka, goddammit. Like, just really upset about it. But they seem to all kind of have the same impression of like, yeah, she seems okay kind of a thing. Not wowed, but not like, oh, this is that Asuka chick. I haven't heard anything great. Like, And really the main topic that came out of this was everybody kind of going, well, is she just going to beat Alexa Bliss for the title right now, or are they going to wait? And that got me thinking, because it seems like it's an inevitability.
Mm-hmm.
But do they go Asuka Bliss at WrestleMania? Do they go Asuka Bliss at like Royal Rumble and set up like Asuka Nia Jax? Do they do a triple threat at WrestleMania? What would you like to see them do?
They can do it anytime. They could do it tomorrow night, honestly, if they wanted to. But I don't think so, because I was watching Talking Smack for a hot minute there, And it seems like we're getting a similar thing happening with the women's champions as we are with the men's champions for Survivor Series, as Alexa Bliss was dropping a lot of pop shots at Charlotte. So I'm thinking we're going to see like a cross. Oh wait, Charlotte's not women's champion, is she?
No, Natalya is. But they could still do women versus women elimination match and not have the title on the line at all, you know? Have like Alexa, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Asuka, and somebody, Emma or Nia, whatever you want to do, versus like Charlotte, Becky, Natty, Naomi, and Tamina. You know?
Well, in that case, I don't really know what the ends to that exactly is, but she was definitely taking a lot of shots at Charlotte, so that's perhaps it's going to be nothing. But when I think they go that far into something, I don't think they do it for no reason. As far as Asuka goes, I mean, what I think they could do to keep her busy for a little while is give her the old here's Asuka versus local talent treatment, and I think you could do that for like a month or two.
Yeah, they have time.
Mm-hmm. And you could keep her busy, and then at that point, you could do it at any point. You could do Royal Rumble, you could do it WrestleMania. I think you could have her win it at Royal Rumble, and then have a really big defense at WrestleMania, and it'd still go over just as well as if she had won it there.
Or she might even win it in the Elimination Chamber. They could always do that.
Like in an actual Elimination Chamber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibility.
Yeah, I'm not going to say no. I mean, they're trying all different types of things with the women now, so I'm not going to say no to that.
I think if I were to plan things, I think I'd probably rather have, because I'm still kind of banking a little bit on that 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen match at WrestleMania. So I'm thinking that would be a good way to get a couple of people out of the way, and possibly Asuka and Nia and Alexa in a triple threat could be kind of fun, I think. But who knows what they have planned. I don't think that they even have a really sound idea. And who knows what they're going to be able to do, because if people get sick over the next couple of weeks, it could change a lot of stuff.
I think the WrestleMania match for Raw is Asuka defending the women's title against Paige.
I'm still thinking Paige is going to go to SmackDown. If at all.
Why SmackDown?
I think they need her more. Because really, like, Becky's kind of lost a lot of steam. Naomi has been pushed aside a little bit. The heel side's sort of blah. Like, Tamina's kind of a waste, even with Lana on her side. So I think that Paige is going to go over there and she's going to be a heel. Or she's just going to pop up in, like, fucking TNA wearing a mask. Who knows? We had our first of 3 different musical performances, or, well, technically, I guess, just appearances by Elias, and we might as well just throw these all together. Elias pops up, he starts to do his song, Jason Jordan throws a bunch of produce at him. They do this again for take number 2 a little bit later on after the Raw Women's title match, and then they do it again kind of a little bit later on with just like a match itself as like the little buffer before the main event. But Elias and Jason Jordan having this kind of time aside, I'm okay with that. I like both of them to a certain extent, and the match isn't going to be something again that people are going to really remember and go crazy about, but I like that they're on the card, and I didn't think that it was bad.
You know who had an awesome day today? Was the intern that they told to go to the nearest grocery store and just fill up a grocery cart with as much raw produce as he could fit in there, and then just you give him the company card and charge it there. That must have been a glorious day for that young man or lady.
He's playing Bobby Roode's theme while he's doing it. They're like, why is this dude so happy to buy fucking celery? You don't get it, I've got a company card. No, I won't eat it. I won't eat it because I'm going to throw it. Actually, he's not even the one throwing it. So you think that he was actually upset about that? Or he's just throwing the backstage just to be like part of the fun?
This was so hokey.
Yeah, it was.
This is like you think of like the cartoons when a character is trying to do stand-up comedy and people are throwing like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
I thought that was a little bit funny though. I really actually, the part that made me laugh the most, it was not actually something that happened, but There's a part of, I think the first one, where Elias takes his pick and he puts it in his mouth, and I thought he grabbed a piece of the banana and put it in his mouth. And I was cracking up because I'm just like, yo, he's just gonna like, hey, thanks. I'm like, would have been a lot better.
That's another thing that kind of bothered me about it, is that he was just kind of like cool with it the first time, even the second time.
Oh, he's laid back, man. He's the drifter. Like,
yeah, I guess. I didn't hate it. I'm just like, they could have combined this all into one and had Elias fight him to a backstage fight rather than just leading to this match the way they did.
Yeah, there could have been a couple things that are a little bit different, but I wasn't opposed to it being on the card. It was something that was like, it was a little lighthearted fun to kind of pepper in here and there. And
you gotta keep Jason Jordan in people's memory.
Yeah, I actually thought that they were going to have him come out with that TLC match. Do something, but then once they started doing this, it was like, oh, okay, they're not going to make him do like 5 things throughout the night. It's a little bit too much. Now they got people talking a little bit, at least, too, with the pin and how Elias's shoulders were very clearly up for that. So tomorrow night on Raw, who knows? Maybe they'll get something decent out of that, too. Maybe Elias will be backstage writing a song about how much he hates those vegetables.
You know, what's really ridiculous is that it's 2017 and they still can't use an instant replay.
They can, they just don't want to.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have a stage that's literally all screens.
And they do have the replays immediately after a big move happens.
Dude, they can watch an instant replay on the fucking ring post. Yeah. This is the point we're at.
And then the referees are like, nope. Referees calls final. God damn it, John Gone. So then we had, which I hate to say it, was the biggest throwaway thing of the entire night. As Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher and Brian Kendrick. And first things first, you changed Gallagher's theme to whatever that was. That was like a knockoff William Regal type thing. Bad move. Not a fan.
Yeah, he couldn't keep coming out to his old theme, though. And I agree. I loved his old theme. I like it because it does kind of remind me of when William Regal's changed to that burr, 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 burr. Which I hated that theme, too, when he first switched to it. In that sense, that's grown on to me one of my favorite themes in the whole Attitude Era.
I liked the older theme still as a heel, though, because I thought that it kind of came off a little pompous. Like, because he's goofy still. Like, he's still carrying the umbrella. He's got that mustache. And it was kind of like, oh, you think you're a tough guy now? You're still coming out to just... Like, you know, I still imagine the commercials that used to play when... was it for pork? Is that what it was? Or Grey Poupon or something?
Pork had a similar...
That was the... Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, Pork had that one. I don't know what had. I'm sure there was something. I mean, it's one of those, like very commonly used things.
It reminds me of, there was some kind of commercial that used to have that, and it always reminds me of the end of Bad Santa, because I know that's playing around there.
I think the song's called like "Running of the Bulls" or something like that.
Yeah, something. It's one of those like everybody knows it, but nobody knows it type of things. You start playing the Blue Danube Waltz, and people are like, "Oh yeah, But this match, I like all 4 of the guys involved in this, and the crowd just could not give a shit. They were just yawning, and you could tell that they had no idea who these people were for the most part, and that's kind of the case with the Cruiserweight division in general, which is a shame because they have talented people. And the match wasn't too bad. It was a TV show match, you know? It was the type of match that's on Monday Night Raw when people go, oh, okay, I'll run to the bathroom now.
I have a slightly different view. I mean, I think this was not the lowest point. It's a low point, I'll say that, just because of, as you say, it was such a random match to have on the show. It's just, why are we having this tag match of random dudes? Mm-hmm. But I think as far as the match itself, I think they had a far better match than the other 205 match.
Oh, well, if you're talking pure match quality, yeah.
And I think the crowd came alive towards the end for it. Definitely during the beginning and the entrances. Something's got to be done about Cedric's music. And
I like Cedric's music.
And here's the thing, as a song, I like Cedric's music, but it does nothing to amp the crowd up at any point. It's got a really awkward, slow, and almost like mumbly rap beginning to it. And it's not good to get hyped to.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It is a little slow at the beginning. If they could cut out a good couple of seconds of it and get right to that, like, part where we just a little fist bump kind of thing.
I think it needs a remix. I think Jim Johnson needs to work his magic on it and see what he can do with it.
They need to throw a little more money to CFO.
No, fuck those guys.
You know who I think needs a little bit of a mix? Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, she could use a new theme too. I agree.
Or at the least, like, maybe some lyrics to it or something. But it's a very awkward theme. The, like, kind of thing. Like, it's, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it really knows what it wants to do at some different parts. And
well, they call that dubstep, Tony.
Yeah, I don't like it. I've never been a fan of dubstep. But oh shit, that's our next match. That's a good little transition. Oh, by the way, Alexander and Swann win by pinfall. Raw Women's Championship match. What?
One other note on that. What this outfit they have Jack Gallagher wrestling in now? What is going on with that? Like, that cannot be comfortable. It doesn't look comfortable to be wrestling in.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like a different material than it actually looks like, or like, you know, like his shoes. Maybe they have like proper like inner soles that kind of like offset it and stuff.
Oh, dude, he probably just has gel inserts from the Rite Aid.
He's gelling like he's gelling. Gentleman Jack Magellan. Or is it Magellan and Jack Keller? What's the best way to do that? Tell us in the comments below. Also, tell us what the sound quality is like in this. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of this. Yeah.
Because those goes hand in hand.
Sound quality of Magellan, Jack Gallagher. Like, that could be our sound test thing. Just kind of like, testing, 1, 2, Magellan, Jack Gallagher. Yeah. Well, you know, it makes them stand out. So.
And I have one other note, actually. Through 205, we, of course, have always had a focus on our title, but have you noticed who else has always had something to do? I was speaking about that with Sasha Banks before. Have you noticed who their project outside of the title has been that's just always had something to do?
For 205?
Yeah.
Probably Rich Swann, right?
Cedric Alexander.
Well, he's the guy that I think is going to be the next champion.
I think he's who they ultimately want to make a star that goes beyond the 205 thing.
It could be. He got one of the best reactions out of that Cruiserweight Classic. I mean, he was the one that the crowd was chanting, "Please sign Cedric." And
yeah, I'll always remember that. Yeah, I'll always remember that with Triple H and giving the thumbs up as they're going around with his arm around him. That was how good he felt.
Cedric probably then was just like shitting himself. It's just like, oh, this is great. I'm in WWE for a little bit. The fans are chanting for me. This feels great. Please sign Cedric. Oh, that's sweet, guys. That's sweet, guys. Triple H comes out, gives a thumbs up. He's just like, oh my god!
But think about how long did that freaking Cedric Alexander and Nam Dar thing go on for?
That was a long time, and it suddenly turned into like a Rich Swann feud too. And then it was like, it was a long feud. Yeah, that's actually on my list as one of the better feuds of the year.
And like, how many champions did we have while that feud was going on? Meanwhile, that freaking Cruiserweight title is being bounced around like a basketball.
This year we've had Swann, Neville, Tozawa, Neville, Enzo, Kalisto, Enzo.
Jesus.
All the titles for the most part have been bouncing around, and it's really getting a little annoying.
Well, not the Universal title.
No, well, that was just bounced around at the beginning of the year 3 times. And then it was Son Lesnar. You're not going to see it for, you know, a little bit here and there. But
listen, what it does when it's around Kevin Owens' waist isn't for you to judge. Never mind.
Did they clarify why he left that tour, by the way?
Huh?
It was like a family matter or something like that. It wasn't anything bad, right?
Like Kevin Owens?
Yeah. No, like death in the family or something, right?
I have no confirmation. I don't know.
Hope not.
Just because we both have beards don't mean we have like a shared assistant or something.
You're not in that beard club where you meet every week?
No, I couldn't afford the dues.
So our next match was the Raw Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss defending successfully against Mickie James. Pretty good match overall, not too bad. Good to see Mickie James on the card. Good to see her cutting that promo afterward a little bit too, although I got the vibe that it was almost like a retirement thing, which was a little strange. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but...
No, she was talking about how she wants to challenge again for the title and even win the title again someday.
Yeah, it felt like the type of thing that people give when they're like leaving NXT or something, though. To me, at the very least.
Yeah, when you leave NXT, you go up to WWE.
Maybe Mickie James is doing this and she's going to go down to NXT. Maybe that's what it is.
She might be better off at this point.
Maybe because she barely has been used this year.
Get the hell away from Asuka. So,
I think the right woman won. Like we just said, the title's been bouncing around a whole lot here and there for many different titles, and I thought that there was a chance that Mickie could win it just for like the shock value of it, and then Alexa wins it back in like a month or so and sets up like the eventual Asuka thing. But I really didn't want that to happen. I was really rooting for Alexa to just retain here, so I'm glad to see that happened because Mickie has been getting screwed over. I think she hasn't been really used at all, but doesn't mean that she should be champion, you know?
I think she's capable of being champion. I just think it's unfortunate timing for her right now.
Yeah, it's not now.
I wouldn't have been shocked if she did win, and only for the purpose of having a veteran going into the match with Asuka where she makes her big win. But I don't know. Alexa's the it girl right now, so it's the right person to have won.
Yeah. What did you think about the match itself? Anything stand out to you?
They were pretty stiff with each other. I got to say that. There's a lot of hair pulling and slapping and
insert jokes.
Yeah. But it wasn't like like cat fighty. Like it was like Japanese style almost.
They're like, we can do Asuka better than Asuka. Let's go out there. Yeah, that was a much better match than the thing that had followed it. Kalisto versus Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight Championship, which I didn't expect to be some kind of a classic. So, kind of take that for however you want to take it. But I did call the title change. I mean, I would assume that anybody that would be paying attention would have known that Enzo would end up winning that title back, because who gives a shit if it's on Kalisto, And I'm glad that he won by cheating, because it still keeps him going that same heel route, but I just hope that they follow this up well.
It never should have been taken off Kalisto in the first place. This was just writing a mistake that they did.
You mean just taking it off Enzo?
Yeah, that's what I meant. And everyone should have been on Kalisto, maybe is what I should have said.
Yeah. It's just to bring it back to status quo. It's just the same as what the other title changes that have been happening a lot this year. Put it on somebody to make people go, huh? And then put it right back.
It's a classic plot cul-de-sac, as all this was.
Yeah. And it's a means to keep them going a little bit longer. And this is why I think there's only two ways that we can really go for Survivor Series, as far as like the Cruiserweight division goes. Either we get Kalisto's rematch and Enzo just retains through some kind of shenanigans, whatever. Or we get Team Kalisto versus Team Enzo.
Oof.
And that's a distinct possibility, because Enzo's been hanging around a lot with 4 other guys. Tony Nese, Arya Daivari, Noam Dar, and who's the other one? Shit.
Mustafa?
No, he's a babyface. Who's the other guy?
Who's the bad guy, Mustafa?
Oh, Drew Gulak.
Oh, not him.
Forgot that he's been there. And then Kalisto's got Mustafa Ali. And then I would assume probably like Lince Dorado, Gran Metalik, and because I'm trying to figure out without the Cedric and such. And I don't know, maybe they bring in like Aleister Black or something, or they take Alexander, or they take Rich Swann, or TJP turns babyface again, or something like that. But I think there's definitely a possibility we could get a 5-on-5 Cruiserweight match on the pre-show. That keeps Enzo from fighting for the title again. Kalisto gets his rematch on 205 Live or on Monday Night Raw. Like, they can bounce around a little bit like that.
Sure, whatever. You know what? If it gets to a point where we get to actually have like 3, 4 Survivor Series matches on the show again, as long as that's not like the sole Survivor Series match. Like
Oh, no, they can't do that. No. That's what's tough about this thing, because they clearly are doing this Raw versus SmackDown again in some capacity, because the logo has the red and the blue. And we know that we're going to get Jinder Mahal and Brock Lesnar. That's like, you think that Brock Lesnar is going to come out tomorrow night on Raw and go, nope, and then that's the end of the feud. Like, not going to happen. But if we get the same layout as we did last year, where it's the men's match, the women's match, and the tag team match, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think they're going to want to do that anymore. Because that tag team match was 5 tag teams against 5 tag teams. That was quite a bit of people involved in that. And I think that we might get some other kind of things going on here. I think we might get like some other champion versus champion type stuff and some other kind of... Because another possibility too, and I hate to say it, but we could get like Team Kevin Owens against Team Shane McMahon. And if we get that, then we have nobody to be able to do a Raw versus SmackDown thing. Then you need to have Team Shield plus 2 people versus Team Miz plus... Well, you can't really do the same people from tonight, but close to that, you know what I mean? It's going to be a weird situation, because the whole situation with the mumps and such could change a lot of stuff up, because this was not the card that we were supposed to be getting tonight, that's for sure.
Well, that should be all cleared up by Survivor Series. Mumps doesn't take that long to recover from.
Well, they said, was it like 16 days or so that you might not even be able to show symptoms. So if people get something like now, that's going to change a couple things around. Here's hoping that it doesn't. I mean,
they tested everybody. They tested literally every single person on staff, even like the non-performer people.
Well, that's good to know that at the very least.
That's actually how they discovered Roman was sick, because originally they were just testing because of the viral meningitis that the Wyatts had gotten, or the Wyatts, I should say the Rotundas. And then when they were doing that test, that's when they discovered the mumps developing in Roman. And yeah, they could find that in other people, but I would say even with that, by the time Survivor Series is what, almost a month away?
November 19th or 18th or 20th, one of those 2, 3. That's math. 1, 2, or 3, those 2. But speaking of the idea of them changing around the card and such, we got Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, which is one hell of a better match than we would have ever gotten with Bray Wyatt. That's for sure. That was a good match.
Especially Bray Wyatt drag.
I'll give them credit where it's due. The Sister Abigail thing is the most interesting thing that they've done with this Bray Wyatt Finn Balor feud since it started. But still, I had no interest in that whatsoever. And even though the Styles thing makes no sense, like there's no storyline behind it, they put on a damn good match.
I was intrigued to see what we were going to get out of the whole Sister Abigail versus Pumpkin King thing.
Pumpkin.
I'm a little surprised he didn't still do the Pumpkin King. He, although I gotta say, I really did like his paint job tonight. It had like the weird like Joker smiley faces all over different places. It's a good job by whoever his artist is that does that. The match itself kicked ass.
Poor AJ Styles. It's like, I'm gonna be the demon to kick your ass, Bray. Where this is a hard, bitter feud, and I only bring the demon out to fight people I really, really hate and stuff. Oh, hey AJ. And it's like, well, why do I get the demon?
Well, it does seem weird that he doesn't do the demon for like over a year, and then now we're getting it like all the time.
Yeah, I think maybe they just kind of realized that they were like, oh shit, without the demon thing, Finn Balor's kind of boring. This dude, I've been getting more and more sour of him.
Oh, wait.
Finn Balor.
Oh, I'm not sour on him at all. I think he's great talent. I think it's still a great gimmick. Sell a lot of merch still with that stuff. I'll tell you one thing that does kind of perturb me about him, though, and you want to talk about poor AJ. How about that coup de grace at the end of that match?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't think I've ever seen him just like completely dead weight
Yeah.
onto a guy. Like usually he rolls like backwards. No, this he actually like stood straight up for a couple seconds and then rolled forward.
That looked pretty damn painful. That was the first time that I was just sort of like, oof. Like, you flat out stomped on Styles.
And like anytime someone says the coup de grace shouldn't be a finisher of the match, I'm always going to point them to that from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like this is what you're supposed to imagine the move is like.
Yeah, that is. I mean, the guy jumps from that high and stomps with both of his feet on your stomach. Yeah, it's gonna fucking hurt, you know. Like, he's not stubbing your toe, and even then, that could be a finisher too. It's the tub toe,
The tub stub.
the tub toe, the stub toe. You're just like, son of a bitch. 1, 2, 3. Damn it, you know. But
most of these guys wear boots, but you could do that with someone like who doesn't wear boots anymore?
Rusev still does.
Yeah, Rusev I think was the last guy to go barefoot.
Rusev and Umaga were like 2 of the only people. Did Asuka wear boots her first match?
Oh yeah.
I thought there was somebody somewhat recently that didn't wear boots for something other than Jack Gallagher. I don't know. But yeah, that's that coup de grace looked pretty painful. And the match itself, pretty damn good match. I saw somebody, I don't know if it was on the Mega Maniacs or if it was on Smark Moment itself, but somebody was saying that could be a match of the year candidate. And I don't think I'd go that far. But at the same time, best match of the card as far as I'm concerned.
Best match of the card. I think it's something that could be in the conversation, but I do think ultimately there's a couple of matches that would trump it. But you could put it in the top 5, at least the top 10.
You saying that would trump it just made me think back of the trumpets.
Oh.
I had this PTSD flashback for a second.
Yeah, well, in that case, I'm
gonna play this song when I'm in an insane asylum or something.
You want to talk about making the best of a shitty situation, though, is exactly what they did with this. The match between them, as I said, I was intrigued. I wanted to see what they were going to do, but it wasn't like, man, I'm super excited. I'm going to be sitting on the edge of my seat all the time during this match. As soon as they announced Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, that's the mode I got into, looking forward to this match. And that's where I was at during the match. They tore down the house. Talking smack, Raw Talk, they were sucking AJ's nuts about like how great, like
stubbing his toe.
Well, like how he had just worked for SmackDown and flew like 16 hours or whatever it was to get to where Raw was, or traveled 16 hours, not flew 16 hours, but went out of his way to do this match. And so I think some major props are due for him for doing that.
I would not be surprised at all if, and I think it was the plan anyway, but there's about like a conflicting report where some people are saying that it seems like it's going to be Jinder Mahal versus John Cena at WrestleMania. I'm still thinking that we're going to get AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. And the fact that they're setting up this idea with AJ and Jinder, that I think is probably going to play out at Clash of Champions. I think if they were kind of going 50-50 of where they want this to go, and do they want Jinder to go in as the champion against John Cena, or do they want the Styles Nakamura thing as the title? I wouldn't be shocked if this was the type of thing that they'd go like, look, Styles is a company dude, he did this for us, let's put the title on him instead. Could end up being something that we look back and we go, oh shit, that was really important.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I think AJ Styles has definitely become one of their go-to guys.
Yeah, I think he proved within the first year that he was just like, he lived up to the hype. And I think that made them feel a lot more comfortable.
And I imagine he's being very well taken. I'm like, God, dude, I think he's like a top 3 merch seller. So he must be bringing in. Imagine the money he's making now compared to when he was in TNA.
And then you got all these people that are like, I want to leave WWE and I want to go do this other stuff with like Cody Rhodes and such. And it's like, you can try. Like, it can work.
Yeah,
sometimes, but you got to be good enough to get that part. And...
Yeah, every time someone brings up that argument when someone wants to leave, it's like, well, Cody Rhodes did it. I was like, yeah, Cody Rhodes did it. But you know who didn't? Jack Swagger, Ryback, fucking Chris Masters, everyone else who thought they were going to go out.
James Storm.
Oh, poor James Storm.
WWE for 2 matches goes back to TNA, and it's just sort of like every interview he's ever done since then is people going, "Yeah, why'd you leave?" And it's like, oh, I was in WWE for like a minute, and they're like, "Yeah, but you left us." Like,
Yeah, that was a bad decision, and I think he does regret it ultimately. But that's what he's gonna have to live with. And I think the next, if there ever is another opportunity, it's not gonna be very good.
no, I bet he's looking at Bobby Roode right now, and he's just going, "God damn it," calling up Roode. Hey, buddy, beer money reunion.
Hey, how about let me just pitch something to you, Bobby. What do you think about glorious beer?
I think we can capitalize, but can we do this in TNA? I mean, it's not called TNA anymore, but I don't know what it's called. Nobody signs my paychecks anyway. So. Weird ass company. But we do have our main event of the night, because we already talked about Elias versus Jason Jordan, and the main event was, of course, originally going to be the Shield returning and facing a random hodgepodge of The Miz, The Bar, Braun, Strowman, and Kane, but with Roman Reigns out, we get replaced with a random Kurt Angle. Did not see that one coming at all. I really thought that Finn Balor would get thrown into that match instead, but there's ups and downs about this. And it was fun, but it was weird. And it was a mess, but it was kind of like a fun mess. Lots of problems with, like, Kurt Angle. You could tell that he couldn't really just, like, go. But then again, I don't want Kurt Angle to just be thrown through fucking tables and die. So it's sort of like, this was a weird thing to process. And there were problems with, like, Braun Strowman and Kane fighting. Seemed a little bit strange how they pulled that off. But at the like pretty much the beginning of the match, I was like, I bet you at some point Strowman and Kane are going to start arguing, because it's just too lopsided. And if this leads into Braun Strowman turning babyface, I'm kind of down for that. I don't think he is, because we've seen like 5 different times now where Braun Strowman seemed like a babyface and he went right back to being a heel. But he could also turn out to be Super Shredder tomorrow night. That's another possibility, being thrown into the garbage truck. And I gotta say, though, the biggest disappointment of this whole thing was just, there's a shot at the very beginning of it where the Shield is coming through the crowd, and Kurt Angle's behind them, and my gut reaction was just, oh, this looks like he's their dad. And I got this weird impression throughout the whole match that it was like these 2 kids hanging out with their dad, just having fun. And I couldn't shake it. And that's totally on my end. That's not WWE's end. But, yeah, positives and negatives throughout the whole thing. What did you think?
When they announced Kurt Angle as a replacement, that was a bombshell. And like they had nothing to really put it out there, because you got to consider this was after Raw and SmackDown had already concluded.
Yep.
Like what show are they going to announce that on?
Yeah, they're not going to put it on like Main Event or something nobody's going to watch.
So I think they did a pretty good job. Like, I think there was a lot of news outlets who actually picked up on this, like big news outlets, like I think like USA Today or something like that, or stuff like that level. So good on Kurt Angle. I think some people will be disappointed that we didn't get the full-on American hero Kurt Angle, but I actually thought it was kind of neat what we got when they came backstage, handed him the flak jacket, and then he came out with them coming down the steps. And then he did come out to his music later, so at least you got that bit.
It saves the Olympic thing for whatever the next match is.
Yeah, like something where it's going to be more of a focus on Kurt Angle. Like, this was more of a tease to show that, hey, Kurt Angle isn't just a backstage guy. He does still have the ability to go in ring. And it was a good way to hide like any weaknesses he may have. As far as him like looking kind of weak and not able to go, they brought that up on commentary. Actually, Booker T called him out. Look at him over there sucking wind. And it's like, well, yeah, of course. This guy, in their story, hasn't wrestled for 11 years. So, of course, he shouldn't just be going in there and, being able to go 60-minute Iron Man match, no problem. Like, he should have a hard time in there.
Right. Now, the good test will be if he does that in future matches and stuff, but who knows what they're going to do in the future. And this opens up a lot of possibilities for a lot of different things. Now Kurt Angle's on the table. It was always just speculation before. Now he is cleared to wrestle, apparently.
Dude, like half the roster I would love to see him face, dude. Kurt Angle, freaking Nakamura, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Kevin Owens, Kurt Angle, Sami Zayn, Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe. Fucking like this is like so many matches I want to see with him now.
I'm still thinking Triple H.
That's fine. You can do that too.
Sounds like a WrestleMania match to me.
Sure, yeah. Over what? Like Control of Raw?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Book it. That'll work.
And Triple H wins, takes over Raw. They stop having Kurt Angle as the GM. I think that's how things are going to play out. Do you give any weight to the story that was going around that they actually thought about having Daniel Bryan in there?
Listen, if I can give weight to anything, I would do it. Trust me. Of Daniel Bryan potentially being put into the match? No, not at all.
I don't think it's too crazy.
Listen, Kurt Angle's one thing to have return in this. If you were going to have Daniel Bryan come back, it's going to be a one-on-one match.
Well, I mean, just in theory, the idea of them even thinking about it would put the idea that it would be like, well, maybe they're open to the idea of him wrestling too. You know?
No, I don't think they ever thought there, because Kurt Angle, there's a very good storyline reason for him being there. There's nothing for Daniel Bryan being put in there.
Well, I mean, if you give me the choice between Kurt Angle going into this match and Daniel Bryan, clearly Kurt Angle makes the most sense. So even if they were thinking about Daniel Bryan, they made the better call when it came to that. But I don't know. I mean, it could be total bullshit too. It could be one of those things where like 2 days from now we get like there was never any indication that Daniel Bryan was ever considered for this, and so on and so forth. You got to take it with a grain of salt. But
no, they're just never print retractions on that kind of shit. Are you kidding?
Oh, it's not a retraction. It's more so, here's the new scoop that Daniel Bryan wasn't in the match, that kind of a thing. They never say, and we reported this and we were wrong. But I don't know. I mean, the idea that Angle was able to get slotted into this match so quickly, and this could not have been anything that they had planned. So that opens up the idea that maybe they're willing to just go like, all right, well, if we're in panic mode, let's try to see what our options are. And maybe Daniel Bryan was discussed, but Kurt Angle, at the very least, we know for sure he was discussed because he was in the match. And now that he has wrestled, unless something happens where they find out backstage that it's like, he goes, oh man, I really can't do this anymore. This beat the hell out of me. I think right now it's a guarantee that he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. I had him off my card.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kurt Angle is in like that upper circle right now.
Kind of like an Undertaker status?
Yeah, like, because I mean, he had an excellent relationship with Vince, and of course he had an excellent relationship with Triple H too.
Oh, you mean like backstage?
Yeah. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was, like, even there when, like, all this was coming to a decision, and, like, what are we going to do? And Kurt Angle came in, like, I'll go in. It could have been that simple.
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know. I wish that'd be the type of thing that I would love to see a WWE 24 on, like, this week. That'd be really cool. They'll never do it. But
no, it's too obscure of a topic, but it is one of those things that there's so many little facets of it. You wish you were a fly in the wall during some of those moments.
Yeah. See, like, what stuff they were panicking with and what stuff that they were like, because you know that Roman Reigns, his thing with Kane had to be one of the big things they wanted to push here. I mean, that they did the whole Kane setup thing last week, and that was like, whoa, Kane's the other guy. Oh man, like a lot of people thought it was going to be Samoa Joe, myself included. And I would have assumed that this would have turned into something with Reigns and Kane. Maybe like the two of them face each other at Survivor Series or something like that in like a solo singles match. But we could still get that too. Nothing that says that they can't do that if Roman Reigns is healthy enough. And we're going to eventually get that Shield reunion. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see what they do with that too. I don't think that they're going to just say, all right, well, we couldn't do it, the end of it, let's not do it. Do we get it on Raw? Do we get it at Survivor Series? Do we get it at, like, there's no Raw event for December, which is strange. Maybe they add one. You know, they could always just add one.
Well, I was going to say, maybe they're actually going to take it light for the holidays, but isn't this also the year they're adding Raw on fucking Christmas, so...
Yeah.
Never mind that.
And that they randomly decided one of the house shows is Starrcade for SmackDown.
Yeah, I still don't know really if that. I would really like for that to be broadcast on the network, and I'm hoping that that's they end up revealing.
I don't think it's going to be, but I would not be surprised at all if Carmella cashes in. And then they kind of have to, like, show that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Just to give some kind of notoriety, like that something had happened there.
Mm-hmm. I'd say watch out for Starrcade. And if you're somebody who's in that area, try to get a ticket, you know? It could be fun.
I have a feeling Cody might show up.
Cody Rhodes himself?
Mm-hmm. They did tease it.
WWE?
Mm-hmm. Well,
what did they say?
No, not WWE. I'm sorry. Michael Hayes did.
What did he say?
So, what was it that they got all butthurt? Oh yeah, remember when they announced War Games and Brandy Rhodes threw a big stink online because it was like, oh, what are you taking the Rhodes family's ideas? And
well, that was for Starrcade. War Games came afterward. Starrcade was the first one that they announced, and they were complaining about that. And then War Games came afterward, and Cody was like, "Nah, I'm okay with that because they cleared it ahead of me," or something like that.
Okay, I got it backwards then. Well, okay, so my timeline's a little backwards on that. So when that had happened, that was the point where Michael Hayes had tweeted out directly to Cody. It was like, "Listen, you know that this is all being done out of respect. Cody, I'd like to extend you the invitation to wrestle with Dustin in a tag team match. What do you think?" And there was never any public reply to that or anything. But then that ends up being that much more interesting that he tweets about the War Games thing and saying, "Yeah, we talked and it's cool." So like, there's definitely been conversations.
I'd be cool with it. I always like Cody Rhodes.
And if it's not on TV, I think that's even more the reason that they could just have him come out for one match and do his thing.
People would go ape shit.
Oh yeah. What music
Somebody
would they
like
probably that last Smoke and Mirrors theme he had.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they just come out to the American Dream.
Oh yeah, that would be neat.
And then Carmella cashes in. Coming out to American Dream.
She cashes in and becomes Ring of Honor World Champion.
She cashes in and becomes Dusty Rhodes. All right, so that is TLC 2017. What was your favorite part and your least favorite part?
Favorite part was the too sweet between Finn Balor and AJ Styles. It was of course a touching moment.
It's good to be in a company that owns the copyright to it, right?
It was a little bit of a rub in the nose to the Bullet Club members at the same time, like, but it also they were giving like respectful homages to it, even on commentary. Even though they never said Bullet Club by name, whenever they referenced to the group that they were together in, or that they were both leaders of, they always said it in like a positive manner.
They did business together.
It was good. Low point would be Enzo talking.
You mean Enzo trying to talk?
Oh god, it was horrendous. I was like, did they forget to test this guy? He sounds sick too.
He really did sound sick. For having a big sickness outbreak thing and him to come out, my name is... Just passes out in the middle of it. And you can't thump. My least favorite, I'd probably have to go with all that wasted produce. Man, somebody could have eaten it. Probably the pre-show in general. It's almost always the pre-show because that's just like something to skip. But my favorite part of the night, Balor and Styles. Pretty sure I'd have to go with that one. Just better match of the night as far as I'm concerned. I think that they took a kind of crappily built pay-per-view that ended up having an extra bit of weight on it, and they turned it into something that was a lot more fun than it could have been. This could have been a real big mess. And it turned out to be some fun parts of it and stuff, so they certainly didn't fail. It's not going to be my favorite match of the year, my favorite pay-per-view of the year, or anything like that, but this could have been a big, big train wreck, and it wasn't. So kudos, WWE, you pulled it out.
I don't think there's been a better example of turning chicken shit into chicken salad since Great Balls of Fire.
And I'll tell you what, I've never been a fan of chicken salad because I don't like mayonnaise. You give me chicken shit, not gonna like that either. Give me chicken nuggets, then we're talking. And hopefully chicken nuggets
that's
is
what
the equivalent of Survivor
should be.
Series.
Turn chicken shit into chicken nuggets.
It's so much better, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to start using that. That's way better.
Have you tried those buttermilk chicken strips from McDonald's yet? I want them so bad.
No.
Haven't had the motivation to go to McDonald's because the...
No, I haven't even tried those new KFC flavors they've had either that they've been pushing on Raw.
I still haven't even tried those chicken things from Taco Bell.
They have chicken things at Taco Bell?
Yeah, they're like little triangles that are like chicken nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
And now they actually added them inside of a quesadilla.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because it's just like, America. Here's my breaded fucking pasteurized chicken thing. What do we do with that? I don't know. Add more cheese and fucking bread. And then they're probably going to, like, in a year, come up with, like, the cheesy chicken quesadilla crunch wrap. Fucking... And then that'll be made out of Doritos. And then you'll just go to Taco Bell and they'll just point a gun at your head and kill you. Just cut to the chase. And I'll enjoy it. But tell us what you guys think about chicken nuggets and chicken shit and chicken salad and TLC. Maybe that's what the C stands for. And whether or not you were happy with this pay-per-view, if you were disappointed with it, or anything along those realms. And as far as other plug stuff goes, Peyton, hit us with yours.
You can follow me on the Twitter at MRPADEN. That's Mr. Payton. And I am still running the MPW weekly show Starbound. We should be beginning the new season tomorrow night. I got a good amount of characters made with the new 2K18 game. I'm really looking forward to getting that going again, but you can find me on Mixer with that same name, or you can follow on YouTube with the username on there, MPW Network. First month free, as well as everyone following.
And from my side of things, of course, everybody make sure you hit that subscribe button to tell us, or not to tell us, to find out when we're going to be posting new videos for different things. Just ring that little bell and check off that you want the notifications, and you'll get notified. That's how that works. If you want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment, you'll also be notified of different things. Although I've been having an issue recently with Twitter where it'll come up saying that this account has been restricted or locked and it's suspicious activity and so on and so forth. If you see that, ignore it. Click on the thing that says that you still want to view it anyway. I'm trying to sort it out. It's something weird going on with my account that Twitter doesn't seem to really want to necessarily help me out with. But I'm going to try my best to make sure that it doesn't get taken down or something. There's no, like, the account's not been hacked. It's not, like, going to spam you. Like, none of that kind of crazy stuff. And actually, if you do see it, tweet at me. Let me know. Because it's something that I don't get a notification for. And sooner I get it up, the better. But insert joke about that. Next week, our main event is going to be the mailbag for October. So if you want to send in your questions, do so as quickly as you can, because we'll probably be recording that Wednesday afternoon. And right now it's already basically Monday morning. So you got like a day and a half basically to send that my way. And then we're going to kind of cut everything off and stuff. But hot tags as well are coming for episode 308. And anything else that happens, just stay tuned to the website and you'll see either articles or podcasts or whatever else ends up happening on that kind of a thing, because everything does come out from there. Follow me at Tony Mango, at A Mango Tree, Fanboys Anon, so on and so forth for all that other kind of stuff. And we'll be seeing you next time, everybody. Thanks for listening. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.